Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, Ronnie, you're supposed to remember that's part of our amazing ginger power that we have. I mean, we get ostracized for being 2% of the entire world population, but then we have the ability to curse people with eternal foot fungus. So I think it works out for us in the end, really. Other than the aversion to sunlight increased pain. But other than that, what's up, everybody? Hello. Not gonna lie, now I want to play F-Zero X instead of playing PlayStation. But we're gonna stick with it. So, the goal for tonight is basically to go through, play some games that are on the PlayStation 1 Classic. I'm not using a PlayStation 1 Classic, but I'm going to be using this exact same core and emulator that is on that piece of crap. And then showing you basically how it is to basically use a better one that they could have included in there without a problem. So yeah, Toshinden is going to be one of the games, definitely. Let's see. Watching a guy play Metal Gear Solid for the first time, it was painful. Well, yeah, if it's the first time, there's going to be pain. There's no way around that because it's a good game. I enjoyed it when I did the playthrough, going through everything, but pardon me, it's just the control scheme has not aged well at all. Not even close. Alright, so I'm going to actually start off with a game that we first started off. I streamed this probably about 3 or 4 months ago, I want to say. So, yeah, the controls have aged very poorly in that game, especially shooting. Aiming and shooting in that game is a nightmare. So, I mean, I would just, I'd have the FAMAS equipped, and I'd just blow through an entire clip and maybe blow through an entire magazine, hit maybe, 1 or 2 rounds against the person I was trying to shoot. So, I mean, it's those controls have not aged well. So now I'm curious as to if the Twin Snakes is any better because you can aim first person in that game. You had the Metal Gear Solid 2 controls and the Metal Gear Solid 1, so that might help things out. So what I'm going to do, this is one of the games I think runs PAL, but I'm not going to run it at PAL speed. But what I'm going to do here, if you're not familiar with the PlayStation 1 Classic, 1, don't buy it, it's a piece of crap. 2, basically it's using this core is right now in RetroArch, which is what I'm using. It's called PCSX Rearmed. It's a very simple, very low level emulator. And basically this is what it's going to look like. Let me go through and double check, because I think I may have put on filters last time I did this. Because while I was streaming this personally, I put on some shaders and stuff. I'm not seeing any shaders on there, so that's good. Because I just want you to see exactly what it's going to look like if you were to buy the PlayStation Classic itself. No frame skip. Vibrations off. Dithering is on. That's fine. So this is all basic, straight off what you get right out of the box. And I think that this one skips the BIOS, which is a shame, because I love the BIOS. It's such an iconic sound, which makes me sad for the PlayStation 4 that it didn't have one. It didn't have that BIOS tune of any kind. I didn't really like the second, the PlayStation 2, though, for that sound. 3 was an orchestra tuning up, which is alright. And I remember, PlayStation 1 cinematics, the FMVs were, the coolest thing ever to see. And now they just look so compressed, because they are. I mean, they're compressed to hell and back to be on a CD. Just assembling it. So she's walking an incredible long distance in heels in the middle of an active racetrack, unless these guys are just illegally racing and it's a ghost town, there's been some kind of pandemic and everybody in the city except for her is cleared out. I'm not really quite sure what's going on, but so not only that, so she's walking along the highway, dangerously, in the middle of the road. This guy is so far ahead, he has time to back up, stop, let her in the car, and then drive off and still continue to be in first place. It's did the other cars, explode? Did he put out, spike traps for him or something? And you're disqualified for picking up an outside passenger who somehow got on the racetrack and could have easily died horribly like that one guy did in the F1. What was it, Paris? I think it was 1972, 73. Guy got hit by a Formula 1 car and literally they didn't know what they were looking at when they found the body because it was just so far mangled. And they never found the driver's head. Oops. Alright, so let's just go into, we'll just pick a straight off race. So this is, like I said, just a straight off PCSX emulator core. This is exactly what you'll find if you buy the PlayStation 1 Classic. Let's just do Grand Prix, why not? Unless it's going to do the whole story. We might not want to do that. Yes, she was going to, but it didn't work out too well. Okay, so this is continuing on.
You've got a new card ready.
So what I'll do is I'm going to go back into, let's see, I can't exit out right now. I'm just going to go into time trial, because this is going to go with like the whole story and big races and stuff. Let's see, time attack, there we go, this will work. Just a straight off first track, nothing special, and I do like drift cars. We'll pick something a little faster. Now this game does run 30 frames a second. At first I thought it was 60, but it is 30. I've also played it up in EPSXE as well. For whatever reason, EPSXE 2.5 seems to have problems, but 2.0 works great. So as you can see, the bottom of the screen flickers. You can see like gaps in the wall on the side, like those little white gaps. That is in the PlayStation Classics. This is the exact same emulator being used. Hey, Friendly Tiger, what's up? You made it. So yeah, this is Ridge Racer, or R4. The PCSX rearmed core, which is exactly the same one I've been saying multiple times on the PlayStation Classic. Complete with emulation errors and everything abound. Not the best one. You see the bottom of the screen flickering, you'll see holes, like white lines on the side of the road, the barriers and stuff. It's not good. See if I can like stop and show you where one is. Okay, I don't have a reverse. Okay. I was trying to see if I can like stop and see if we can get like one to stay on the screen. I guess maybe it's a speed issue, because I saw like Cool Borders 2 has the same problem too. It's got that weird funky reverb. That's not in the normal version. There we go. Okay, so if you look like underneath the 3, I'll try to see if I can go. Yeah, you see like those white lines pop up near like the record on the top, like I'll go for a little more. That's an emulation error. You see that a lot in PlayStation Classic. So, not cool. Those buildings still pop in on the back no matter what you use, really. So you can get an idea for what it looks like. So let's jump back. We're going to reset core association. Let's try English. It's one of the many languages I speak. And here we go. Run. We're going to pick, let's do Beetle PSX HW. This one is pretty good. I like this one because you can set up some pretty cool options for it, which don't take up a lot of power. And you got the BIOS. It doesn't work sometimes. It's a little glitchy. Now, it's been interesting is that I mentioned this yesterday. Ronnie and my friend Pat also, I found it and told my friend Pat about it. Ronnie found it and told me too about it. That with the PlayStation Classic, if you plug in a USB keyboard, as long as it's not an Apple keyboard or a Razer keyboard, hit escape, you can bring up a lot of the options for the emulator that it's being using, the PCSX rearmed. But you have to be careful because some of those options can brick the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fire up. I don't think I have any straight off options on right now. I'm not sure if I did. I do. Okay, so let's set it back down to show you what it looks like before and after I start messing with stuff. Okay. So this is default graphics. They could have. I mean, that's the thing, is that they could have put... it supports shaders. There are shaders on the thing, but they have it locked away for whatever reason. I don't know why. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, there's like cash grab, but then there's like, you can do better cash grab, you know? Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit better. Doesn't seem to be quite matching up. There we go. Okay. Once again, first track. Same car. Now, what's really cool about this emulator that I like is that you can fix the texture warping that goes on with the PlayStation. I forgot the exact method that was behind it that caused textures to start warping out of the way, but you can see already, just by default, this looks a lot better. Now, crazy flickering behind us. The wall does have some minor gaps still for it, but it's not nearly as bad. I swear it sounds like a Prodigy track. It sounds like Smack My Bitch Up almost. Get back out here in the open. I'll show you. I'll start messing around with some settings real quick. So, like, is the game volume too loud, or is my volume too loud? Music of the game is a bit too loud. Okay. Well, let's drop that down. So let's see if this does better. Okay, so I just dropped down the game volume. We'll see if that works better. Much better. Okay, perfect. Alright, so as you can tell, this is the other core. It looks better by far and away already. But let's start doing some enhancements. So this, what's really cool about this is that there's texture warping with the PlayStation 1. This emulator, the Beetle HW, actually has the ability to do a couple different things. One, you can increase the internal resolution. So you can basically make it look, the graphics look instantly cleaner. So you got default. Doesn't look too bad. You see some anti-aliasing on the building, like the jaggeds. Just even by 2, real quick, it's just instantly smooths those out. Everything looks cleaner. Looks pretty good. I mean, it's nice and smooth, and that's just like the most straightforward, basic thing you can do with it. Now, this is what I like, is turning on vertex caching and perspective correcting texturing. This gets rid of all that weird line warping that you'd see, especially in Metal Gear Solid. I mean, that was just brutal. And that looks even more amazing. Everything is nice and smooth. You still have some anti-aliasing, but you can put on filters to basically help get rid of the jaggeds. But the game looks phenomenal right now. And this is a PlayStation game. Like I said, these are things that you can do quite easily. This doesn't take up a lot of processing power to do. They could have easily done it on that system. Draw distance is pretty far out. And the crazy thing is, too, is you can put it even more. I mean, you can put it even, let's see, we can kick it up to like 8 times. I think that might make my computer chug. We'll see. 8 times resolution increase. Now this would be harder to do on basically like the processor it's at. It's like a 1 GHz processor on the PlayStation Classic. I mean, you can make these games look amazing. It's not hard to do. Even like emulators like EPSXE, which is what I used for a very long time before I switched over and got more comfortable with RetroArch because I got more stable finally after a long time, can do this game better. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is like, you can make these old games, you know, it looks like somebody's trying to do an old retro style game. And the cool thing too about it as well is what you can do, one of the very bottom lists is increase CD loading speed. So if you have a game that takes a while to load, you can crank that thing up. I mean, we'll put it at 10 times speed just for fun, which isn't going to make a whole lot of difference right now. Maybe it might break things, we'll see. let's exit the race. Let's retire. We'll exit back to the main menu, see how long this takes. Instantly. Go back into time attack. It's still got some loading, but it's a lot faster. So you can... I mean, this is also kind of like the bane of problems for speedrunning as well, why they're very leery of doing things on emulator, because you can increase the loading speed like I did already. The disk drive speeds got kicked up to 10 times normal. Bam. Just like that. So much awesome. So let's put this back down. We'll put it at 2, just keep it native. There are other things you can do as well. Memory card, gun cursor, PAL, you can mess with that. Dithering patterns, you can make it even more or less. Some emulators you can use for speedrunning, but they usually have to be approved. Basically, like if an emulator is used, it has to be a certain version and a certain type, like BSNES has to be used version 1.5 or below or whatever, because they figure out that's like the best timing for it, and you don't have ways to cheat and make it easier. Like it's harder to basically to manipulate things to your advantage at that point. And that's the thing too with emulation, is it's not perfect. It's not the original hardware. So you're always going to have a different time and speed variance for an actual console, but certain things can get really good. So let's see, what else can I do? Let's see, texture filtering, I have bilinear on, which is not bad. I haven't really seen what the difference is between all these ones, but they look kind of good already. Let's turn up the color depth just a little bit, see what it does.
2, 1, go!
That looks even sharper now.
3, let's go.
Yeah, that looks even better. Not sure about the game speed though. I think there's an FPS option in here, like to see what your frames per second are. Let's make sure, because this game is a 30 frames per second game, so let's see. Could have sworn there was. There it is, display internal FPS. So whenever you make a change in RetroArch, you just basically need to save game option file. You need to pick that every time, like confirm it with A. If you hit B, it doesn't save it. So there we go. So it should pop up on the screen. Yeah, so we're 29.97, which is 30 frames per second. So 8 times resolution increasing. We've kicked up the colors to 32. And we have anti-texture warping on. You can make games look amazing. It's outstanding. It's stunning. So let me knock some things back down real quick. And there we are. First, what it originally was. Off, off. Let's see, bilinear. Let's turn that to, I think it was, yeah, nearest is what the default is. Versus what it looks like normally. Oh, the grainy textures. It makes me sad and die inside. Alright, so enough of that game. Let's move on to a different game, shall we? I'm not sure if it's showing up. Let me see on the stream. It's going too fast. I have low latency mode on, so I can't... It goes by pretty quickly. I only have like a under 2-second delay on my stream. So, I don't know. What I'm seeing in my preview window is like part of OBS showing up on the bottom at certain parts when I change screens. I'm not sure if that's coming through too. Let's pick another game. Let's see. Let's just go down the list. Bushido Blade! Not on it, sadly. Let's do Cool Borders. Actually, no. Let's do Battle Arena Toshinden. So, reset core association. We're going to do PCSX Rearmed once again to show you what it's like on the glorious PlayStation 1 Classic. Glorious being a very big, big lie. Yeah, I think EPSXE might be running it faster than it should be.
Brought together by a common destiny,
But I mean, I used EPSXE for the longest time, so... And I liked it, but then I started getting the RetroArch. Like I said, it's great. If anyone here in chat wants to have, like... Basically, I wrote like a little setup guide for Ronnie to do. I put on my G drive. If anybody wants that, I can put that link into chat. It has, I put the emulator in there and a little guide on how to get it going. Yeah, certain games run... I'm not sure how familiar you are, Friendly Tiger, with video gaming in general, like frames per second. A lot of games for PlayStation were 30, some of them were 60. So usually, like, the faster the frame rate, the better. I think Battle Arena Toshinden is a 30 frame per second game, but some games, like through emulation, you can push it up to 60 without problems. And then sometimes they just run double speed. So it kind of depends on the game itself. I don't think I hit the right button in time. We'll see. No, I did not. So this game doesn't look too bad. I mean, this was like a launch game for PlayStation, I remember. Because I remember going into a store and seeing it. Yeah, I'm going to put FPS per second. Let me read it. I remember putting this in for a second. Oh, okay. It ran 60 frames per second for a second. Okay. Yeah. So I remember this being a launch game for the PlayStation, and I think it was EB Toys or something like that, or whatever it was. One of the old stores that doesn't exist anymore had this as a demo unit. And this was my first time I ever played a PlayStation, and I was not impressed. Let's go with the Dominatrix. Why not? Keep in mind, I have no idea what these controls are, and I have not played this game in 25 years. Let's take a look at the options, make sure that nothing is screwed up. Okay, region auto, that's fine. I think this is a PAL game, if I remember correctly, so let's put that on PAL, if that's probably going to screw everything up. Yeah, it is. It's not running the right speed. So this is probably what you were seeing earlier, Ronnie, if you tried running it. This game is now running 60 frames per second, so it's not running right. So let's put that back to auto. That should take care of it. Drop it back to 30. Now I'm going to have to restart it. It's like a frame skip or something. Let's see. Close content. Run. Let's try it again. Yeah, but if anybody wants like RetroArch, just let me know. Like I said, I even wrote a little guide for it. I even put in a BIOS folder with all the different ones that I have, so you don't have to worry about trying to track all that garbage down. Rungo. Well, that's exactly what I'm using right now, Patrick. Also, hello. So this is the PCSX core. This is what is in the PlayStation Classic. So if you buy it, it's actually, I think that this game is also another one of the PAL regions. I don't have that one downloaded. I mean, legally purchased through 100% means. That's cool. I am not sure. Yeah, the Castlevania 4 whip. Yeah. Now, this game I remember not being the best control anyway, so it's kind of hard to be judging, but I did get the PAL version of Tekken 3, and I will be showing that off. It's running at, it's actually the exact same options as the classic. If you just showed up, you just missed me doing Ridge Racer 4, and I showed like basically how you can make that game look amazing. Bump the resolution up to 8 times what it normally would be, turn on the anti-texture warping, increase the color from 16 to 32-bit.
Anytime, anywhere.
So this game probably has an uncapped frame rate because that part just jumped up to 60 for a second. Okay, so you get an idea of what it looks like. It actually doesn't look too bad. I mean, from what the footage I've seen of this running on a PlayStation Classic, it doesn't look too bad in the ways other than it's just PAL stuff. So let's switch over to, let's see, hopefully this one runs well with the Beetle HW. Let's give that a shot. Also, if you have EPSXE, and if you miss that old BIOS, it's pretty easy to do. Basically, right-click on your EPSXE shortcut. You probably have one on your desktop if you have it there, or whatever the executable is. Go to Properties, and you'll see like a target line. Like, for example, like where it says for target for myself. Actually, I'll just bring it up. I'll show you guys real quick.
Some fighters have come for personal glory. Others have come to fight.
Pause this. I'll just show you, just so you can add this in, make it so you can see it yourself. Let's see, take that off, go to desktop. I can see the future. So, right click, properties. This is EPSXE, so you can see right here is the target line. All you have to do is add in space, bam, like a little hyphen, and then slow boot. Apply. So now when you launch your EPSXE games, let's take a look at the game list, refresh it because I changed everything around. Don't crash on me. No, don't crash. There we go. Let's fire up Toshinden again. So now it should do, there you go. And EPSXE at least does the, the BIOS correctly, so that's cool. So that's your bonus little emulation tip. Let's turn off this one. Yes, quit EPSXE. Don't need you going. No, it's all good. Don't worry about it, Ronnie. Alright, so Pat, I legit bought Final Fantasy IX and Chrono Cross. Awesome. Brand new in Walmart. Played on an emulator in college, wild times. Oh, back in college. Okay, I thought you bought them right now. I was like, wow, how'd you get that one brand new?
Fight for those they love. But all will do their best to be victorious in this tournament, which will
there we go. Should be updated on screen. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, actually I bought Chrono Cross when it came out. I just moved to New Hampshire. Wow. So right away, just like no other enhancements. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else on this. Yeah, okay, so there is enhancements. Let's turn these off. So this is just like normal, straight off, pardon me, PlayStation, but a different core. So it still looks like a PlayStation, no biggie. You can see the background, like, little shimmering, the texture warping, things of that nature. So let's do some improvements. Let's bump up to at least 2. Let's put on bilinear for texture filtering. Vertex cache and perspective correcting. And instantly looks even better. The background still doesn't look that great, but the character models have really improved. I still don't know how to play this game! I love that move. That's like when you like hold down your whip in Castlevania 4 and just like start flailing around. Somebody saw that and said, let's make that into a move in our fighting game. Okay, so I just noticed that the sound was down. So let's see if we can make it look even better. Let's kick it up to 32 for the internal color depth. Excellent. Good, good, good. Glad to hear that works. Let's see. Witchcraft. Need blocky textures and warping. Oh, man. So, Metal Gear Solid, I don't think you saw my playthrough of that, Pat, but, yeah. Metal Gear Solid is texture warping galore. I mean, if you want that, you want to see what that's like, you are in for a treat. So, let's kick it up to 8 times the resolution, see how this handles it. Even more impressive. Remember, this was a launch PlayStation game. Yeah, there are limits. I mean, until you actually start getting like new textures put in or anything, there's always going to be limits to what you can do. But I mean, this is within everybody's grasp, just about. Yes, more polygons is pretty much the ticket, fixing it. But it had to do with something like the architecture for the PlayStation, because I remember it had that problem like constantly. Just even like sitting still, you'd see like textures start jumping around. It's like, okay. Because I know everything. I think the PlayStation rendered everything in triangles, and I think the Saturn was squares. If Saturn Memories was here, I'm sure you'd be able to correct me on that or verify within a second. That dude knows his stuff. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's just why Sony went with the PlayStation Classic or the PSX rearmed. It just, I have no idea why. It just bugs me to this day. So I'm telling people loud and clear, do not buy this garbage, because I mean, this is on the better core instantly, what they could have put on, and this is what it should look like at least. This is what it would look like if you put it in your PlayStation. Alright, so let's back out of this one. Let's try a different game. So, I'm going to plug in my fight stick. We're going to jump into something fun. And I'm probably going to do a full playthrough of it anyway, but I'm going to show off the horrors actually no, let's do Cool Borders first. Then I'm going to jump into Tekken 3. I'm going to show you the PAL version, because I did download the PAL version. And oof, it's not fun. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, third party just does not care whatsoever. Alright, so Demolition Racer. Actually, I have this on PC. My parents, get this, so back in the day, which is technically 1995 when this happened, my parents bought a brand new PC. It had Windows 95, it just came out on it. The computer was a 200 megahertz Pentium 1. It also had 32 megabytes of RAM and a 3 gig hard drive. We were flying. We had like the fastest thing ever. The salesperson told my parents about the hard drive, the 3 gigabyte hard drive. You'll never fill this thing up. It's so big. So, it also came with a whole suite of software, like games and stuff like that. And Demolition Racer, I think the PC version was still called Demolition Derby. I actually had that on the PC. So yeah, that was top of the line. It was a Pentium 1 200, which is like right before they started going to the Pentium 2s, which was like the 233 megahertz. But it was just mind-blowing back in the day. Like, oh my gosh, because we had an Apple II GS before that, and that was just a POS. But let's fire up Cool Borders. Right, exactly. I was trying to remember what it was. It was MM something, but MMX is exactly it. Right, literally before the cusp of it. And that's when everything was improving so ridiculously fast. Moore's Law was like just in full tilt, where everything in like computer speed was doubling by every 1 to 2 years. If not faster at that point. I mean, Moore's Law was just rocket ship back then. It still is in effect, but it's not as big as a difference. I mean, we still have, we're having like 12, 20 cores hitting the market pretty soon, and my computer just, okay. That's my controller. Okay, let's find out why my controller is going crazy. See if there's a vibration off. Yeah, we'll turn that off. It start up the game, it just starts going like crazy in my hands. Like, what? This is a Metal Gear Solid. Alright, let's see. N64 had more modern rendering. It was handicapped with no CD-ROM. Correct. Low amount of memory. Very much so. And slow memory speed. It turned out the Nintendo 64 had, like, the texture limit was 4 kilobits, I think it was. Either 4 kilobytes or kilobits. Probably kilobytes. And it was pretty low. I feel the 90s coming on. I feel like I need to put on some Jinkos and hit the slopes, and wow, we just dropped a crap ton of frames. My internet ducked out. My apologies. Okay, it's back up. By the way, the game looks nothing like this. So enough of the black and white FMV. It's like, why wasn't it even color? Options. Freestyle, sure. And once again, let me know if I need to make any more adjustments, because as we know, every game is completely different, so... So once again, this is the PCSX core. I think this is another PAL game on the system on the PlayStation 1 Classic. But I know from seeing video of this, like before where I pointed out in Ridge Racer, like R4, where you could see like the white cracks in the walls and the gaps. Definitely a problem. The one I recommend is the one that I've been using. I have, okay, left and right control, is the Beetle HW. So if you hold down X, you don't have control anymore, okay. You go fast, but you can't turn. But then you jump. Weird. Riveting snowboarding. Okay, it's a harder turn. First person, but I mean, if you look on the left side of the wall, you'll see like white cracks appearing, like geometry breaks. I don't know how to bust a trick. Don't judge me. Right, but I mean, if you want to like enhance stuff, I've been using to show the comparisons. This is the PCSX Rearmed. The one I recommend by far and away is the Beetle HW, and I'll show it. I'll pause on it in a second when I get to it after this little track is done. Cool, you crashed. You're an idiot. Alright. Come back to the buddy slope. Lame! Yeah, it is nice to have like ones that are more accurate to the original, but every once in a while it's nice to just like kick things up and improve them, just to make them look a little nicer. So I like both ways, but I mean, what I don't like is when you improve, like you have filters that make everything look blurry as hell, like you smeared Vaseline on the screen. For me, that's kind of annoying. Yeah, Medafin or Metafin or what do you want to call it? I've heard it called all different things. I've tried that out. It's not bad. I mean, it is very accurate. Center Memories finally told me how to get it working right. And that's a pretty good, I mean, if you're looking for one that's like very, like almost exactly like the original hardware, like Pat said, Metafin or Medafin is definitely one to do. So that's what the game looks like for the PCSX core. Nothing too special. Still see all the line breaks and all the geometry. That's in, like, so you pull up any video on YouTube about the PlayStation Classic, you'll see this on there too. It's an emulation problem. So let's kick it into something to make it look better. So close content. Reset core association. So that way, whenever you set a core in RetroArch, it remembers which one you used. So if you go to reset core association, when you go to run the game, it lets you pick it. Now these are the different cores that I have for the different things. Like I have Dreamcast, Naomi. Of course, if you pick one of these things, they're not going to work. You got to pick a PlayStation for a PlayStation game. So this is the one I use. I use the Beetle PSX HW. This is the one that I've found that you can really kick up the graphics, make it look even prettier. Then, you know, it has like a lot better options. So that's the one we're going to run. You know, I was shocked to learn that they made a Toshinden 4. I knew about 1 and 2, but I did not know about 3 and 4, so I downloaded those as well. I have them on my hard drive. I just haven't tried them out yet. I also have... what is it called? I have the Toshinden for Sega Saturn. It came out in Japan. VG Collect. Wurzel/Saturn. No, just go straight off to what I have there. Of course, I'm not signed in, so I gotta re-sign back in. My password is not going to tell you. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I think it was like Saturn. Was it Toshinden Ura or something? Let's take a look. I use vgcollect.com. If you're looking for a way to basically keep track of all your video games, I suggest signing up for that website. It's absolutely free. You're able to add in games, like if something's not on there, you can add it in yourself, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Toshinden S is what it's called, is the one I have.
Hit me.
No, you haven't said that yet today, but I've said it multiple times, Pat. It's hot trash.
Ooh, borders!
Yeah, Ultimate Revenge Attack. Okay, so that's what it was. Yeah, because it's the Saturn version is what I have.
Here we go.
So, let's see. Freestyle again. This is just straight off 0 enhancements for the Beetle HW core. Beetle PlayStation PSX HW. Yeah, it's baffling. I mean, Nintendo creates artificial shortages, and this was Sony's thing to completely win, and they just boffed it with crappy games, bad game selection. I can understand the popular games not being in the list. I mean, the colors even like right now are even brighter somehow. It's interesting, but what really disappoints me is like there's bad game selection. Just to rant on this real quick, then I'll start improving things. So there's bad game selection for the PlayStation 1 Classic. Like very weird, questionable choices. Like Intelligent Cube is a fun game, but it's not a classic. I mean, a lot of people probably had to look that one up. They had to Google it and go, "What the hell is Intelligent Cube?" To see what it is. So they have odd choices like they're on there. I can understand certain games not being on this thing, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the Crash Bandicoot games, Gran Turismo. Basically, the first two, like Castlevania and was the other one I just mentioned, Crash. Those just got re-released on PlayStation 4. They're not going to cannibalize their own sales for the PlayStation 4 in a different market. Gran Turismo, they have to license that game, and that game is a licensing nightmare. I mean, because there's like a billion cars you have to pay for. You have to relicense all that stuff. Licenses are not lifetime, so you have to redo all that. That's going to cost money out of Sony's pocket. They don't want to do that. They want to go cheap. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, like I said, you know, that was released on PlayStation 4. That would have been good for this. The couple other games that definitely should have been in, like Cool Borders 2. Nobody likes that, but everybody remembers Jet Moto. That was a big popular one that I remember people were really crazy about. Twisted Metal. I have that. Actually, I have Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2. I'm not a fan of those games, but I have them in my collection. But I mean, people liked Twisted Metal 2 more than 1, so why didn't they go with that game instead? Yeah, exactly. Why not Twisted Metal 2, the more popular of the games? So it's, I mean, no matter what you do, no one's going to be happy with the games you selected. But they could have done better. Rainbow Six is garbage, complete and total garbage. I played that on my PC back in the day, and that was fun. I enjoyed it on the PC. It looked pretty good. It was before it turned into nothing but a bloodbath shooter type deal. It was actually, you had to plan your routes, divide up your teams, and how to go and secure hostages and get people out. It was really cool. You had the tactical planning aspect to it. But then they decided to port it to PlayStation, and it controlled like garbage. I rented it one time. It was just god-awful. But yeah, Medal of Honor you'd have to license through, I think, partially Universal or whatever Spielberg's group is. So that could be another potential too. Like, so they're trying to keep costs down. These are basically games that Sony had the rights to available on hands and to pay a lot of them. They did have to pay for Tekken, and what was the other one I'm drawing a blank on right now? Metal Gear Solid. They had to pay Konami out the butt for that one. So I can understand that. But the biggest thing that really ticked me off about this, that really made me go, that this is a complete and total bullshit, to break my rule about myself trying to not swear on the screen, on the stream, total bullshit, is putting the PAL versions on the American versions, on the American release. When I get to Tekken 3 after this game here, after I show you what it looks like when I bump up the resolution, you're going to see what the problem is when you play PAL streams. You play PAL games on NTSC. It slows down. I'll tell you right now, it's a spoiler. The games are going to run 16% slower. And then you have 9 out of the 20 games be the PAL versions. It makes no sense. I mean, it's not hard. If they wanted to, they could have either ripped their own copies of it. They could have downloaded a ROM from the internet or ISO from the internet and put on the correct version. It's not tricky. And then you have people say like, well, it's $100, so I'll just buy it and put the correct games on there. No, don't give them your money. Do not buy this piece of crap. Do what I'm doing. Get RetroArch. Get yourself, if you want to play this core, you can do it. Or you can get better ones. Do it for free. If you have a Raspberry Pi, play it on there. You know, it's just like, just do it. Do not give them money. Do not reinforce this behavior at all. Drop the folders in RetroArch system. The main RetroArch folder. Which one? What? System. Let me take a look at my G drive real quick. Jump back into it. I apologize about the rant and delaying of this here. But let me take a look at my G drive and pull up my RetroArch stuff. The instructions I have. So I think I put it in there for... Are you on like number 5? Like what step are you on, Ronnie? Yeah, if you have like, if you're on step 5, the little guide I wrote, just basically go exactly where it's at and then extract that one that says retroarchsystem.rar. Just extract it right into there and it'll put everything where it needs to be. That should take care of it. Okay, so enough of my ranting and raving about how much of this thing is a piece of crap. Yeah, exactly. Watch the Digital Foundry video that Patrick just mentioned on the PlayStation 1 Classic. It runs through it all. So let's start making this thing look pretty. 2 times resolution at least. And texture filtering by linear. There we go. Just simple, basic couple options right off the bat. Oh, those Butterfinger BBs. I remember those things. I don't think they even make them anymore. Tons better already. I mean, this game is still blocky as hell, and as Friendly Tiger pointed out, like, yeah, there's not too much you can do. You have limits, but I mean, you can still make it decent. So let's see, let's kick this up more. So kick that up to 8, 32. There we go. Now that's looking sexy. Yet somebody out there is looking at this and going, man, Sonic did it better. Sorry, Sonic Adventure's garbage. I said it. Come at me, bro. Game View is funny too. You should try Pi Classic. Short answer, no. Long answer, no. Dang right. I said do not reinforce a negative behavior. Because if you buy that thing, even with the thing of like the goal of like, I'm gonna hack it, you're still giving them $100 to do so. I mean, the PlayStation, like the Super Nintendo Classic, I definitely recommend buying that if you can get your hands on one. There's still shortages in certain parts of the country. Like where I live in Erie, Pennsylvania, I've seen maybe 4 of them on store shelves total since they've launched, since they came out. And, you know, that is actually really good to mod. First of all, even if you don't mod a Super Nintendo Classic, it has all those games are hits. I mean, those are great games. There's not a single game on that list that comes with that system that I go, I don't like that game. It's a terrible pick. They're all good. But you can add even more games into it, make it even better. I mean, that's the thing too, is that it has extra space to do so. PlayStation Classic does not have that ability. Has 16 gigabytes of space. You take 20 games, they're gonna barely fit on there. You have just enough to create save files, like memory cards for each one, and that's it. You don't have extra room to move things around. Yeah, buy it secondhand used even. I mean, they definitely won't get the money. If somebody bought it, wait for it to go on sale. I mean, and when I say by sale, I'm talking like $30 probably, or even less. I mean, that's the only reason I would pick one up, because I'm sure, I mean, hackers are going to break this thing. That's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So I expect it to get hacked pretty quickly. But for me, I wouldn't consider purchasing one until it got to like 30 bucks, if that, maybe. Because like I said, everything I can do, everything that thing does, I can do on my computer through RetroArch, or you can even do on a Raspberry Pi if you have one of those, without breaking a sweat. So, you see what the game looks like? It looks amazing, just like everything else, the whole name of the game. Let's switch it up for some punishment, huh? Pardon me. I'm gonna plug in my fight stick for the clicky clackies. Now, fun fact, back in the day, which was like in the 90s, yeah, PlayStation TV was 20 bucks, and that's when they cleared it out to get rid of them, and that's when, like, resellers and everything just jumped on them immediately. They immediately sold out everywhere. And now, because they're so hard to get up, because everybody bought up all the stocks and are trying to resell them, they go for over 100 bucks. So, yeah. But then, there's also other problems there with it, too. Like, people are like, just buy a PlayStation TV instead. Okay, so you spend 100 bucks, and you gotta still buy the proprietary memory cards. Those things cost anywhere between 40 to 100 bucks, depending on what size of a memory card you get. And these things are not that big in size. But because they're Sony proprietary, they're expensive as hell. It's crazy. I mean, I remember I had to buy like a 16 gigabyte, I think it was, for my PSP when that was new. Like the PSP, the second revision came out. It's when I bought one for like 200 bucks. And I had to spend like another 60 bucks on a memory card for like a 16. So it's like crap. So, but I mean, you can hack those things pretty quickly, but so you have to spend at least minimum 160 or so, let's say right out the bat, 140, 160, we'll be generous. We'll say 140, we'll be nicer for that, okay? For the current prices, if you get lucky. And then you also have to make sure you have to have a DualShock 3. I don't know if it's compatible 4 or not, so you gotta track down another controller. That, depending where you live, the quality, another $20 to $30. Or you could just spend, you know, the 100 bucks and buy the classic if you wanted to, despite what I'm telling you to do anyway. So let's go through. Here it is. Oh boy. Alright, let's make sure this thing. So this is the PAL version. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Yes. So one of the things that RetroArch likes to do to basically make sure everything is working correctly is make sure it's on the regions on auto. I want to make sure it's set to PAL. It is. Okay, perfect. No, not that. Tekken 3. Quick menu, resume. So this is the PAL version of Tekken 3. Okay, it's compatible with PlayStation 4. Perfect. So if you have a PlayStation 4 controller, you're all set. But still, you're spending a lot more money. And you see people are like, just buy a Raspberry Pi and build it yourself, you idiot. Okay, you gotta buy memory cards again. You gotta make sure you have the right type of cable for it. You can buy the wrong type of processor for a Raspberry Pi, get something that's underpowered, and it's gonna have problems. It's like, you gotta make sure you spend money, and at the end of the day, you're usually spending, if not close to the 100 or more, to make sure it matches up correctly. Now, even though the PAL version runs 16% slower, they did speed things up. They did make sure that at least like the intro scenes match pretty closely. Like they sped it up like the demo scenes so the audio doesn't desync. But there are some frame clipping going on in the FMV, which is harder to spot. So let's jump into practice. Now, I am an Eddie Gordo main, and a lot of people just jam on the buttons like crazy, like, I play Eddie Gordo, and hit the buttons, don't know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing, which threw my friends off considerably. Because back in the day, like I said, I was trying to get into before I got sidetracked in the 90s. Like my friends I made in North Dakota were huge Tekken fans. So I got really good at this game real quick. Best device for PSP is the hacked PSP Go. Yep. So you get a PlayStation 3 controller. Need a way to scale images to full screen. True. So right now, I can tell you this is running slow. It's dropping inputs. It feels like you're swimming underwater pretty much. I mean, it's so sluggish. I mean, it just does not feel right at all. So let's try a little bit arcade. Now, the thing is, though, like with Tekken 3, it actually doesn't need a whole lot of improvements. You can bump up the quality, it's not going to do a whole lot, which is kind of interesting. So, I mean, this game was graphically really amazing on the PlayStation. Oh. But this is, like I said, if you're not used to Tekken, you might think that this looks full speed. It's not. It's going pretty slow. Even the music, good lord. So this is exactly what you'd see on the PlayStation 1 Classic. I mean, I've been saying that all along, but I mean, this is 100% exactly what you'd get. Okay, didn't usually need to like we'll go over something straight off, but that's usually like the third stage. Alright, one more round. Paul, the other guy I used as well. I mean, I pretty much learned how to play as most of the cast, but Paul was like, if you like Street Fighter, then you'd like Paul, because I mean, he was like the most Street Fighter-like character. I mean, despite having the kind of almost combination of Ken and Guile haircut. I mean, he had like fireball moves, basically. They do like those straightforward punches, and he was powerful as hell. Give me the elbow, come on. There we go. Alright, so that's Tekken. You've seen how slow this game is. No surprise. Let's get it going at a full speed, huh? Alright, so close content. Tekken 3, USA, please. Alright, reset core association. We're going to go back to the lovely Beetle PSX HW. Blessed 60 frames per second. Now 30. It will go back up. Oh, that reminds me, I could do that. Menu, toggle. Yeah, so just to show... Oh, don't crash on me, Retro. Okay. So RetroArch has fortunately become pretty stable with the latest builds, so that's pretty awesome. So we're going to run this with... Oh, it doesn't even give me the option. So PAL doesn't even seem to work with... Maybe I need to run the core association first. It doesn't run with the Beetle HW. Weird, so it doesn't give you the option to even do that. to use the basically, I guess it has some kind of problem to do with the timing. It doesn't allow you to do the better one, the better option for it. So let it load up. Okay, there we go. Now we're in it. Menu toggle. Let's see if I can turn on frames per second. I'm pretty sure this one has this too. Frame duping. Don't need you on. Okay, so this one doesn't have an option. I was wanting to turn on like frames per second just so you could see that it is in fact running a lot slower. At least 50 frames per second, but I mean the game's overall just runs slower. Close content, back out. Tekken 3, reset core, just make sure I get the right one. There we go. All right. Yes, it puts its ass in there quite a lot. There we go.
Eddie Gordo, fight!
Can't remember if I tweaked around with this or not, so let's take a look real fast at the menu options. Yes, I did. Okay, so let's turn this all off. Resume. Okay, so this is now running the correct speed, 60 frames per second. Much faster. This is the speed the game is supposed to be running at. It almost feels like too fast because you get used to playing like the super slow speed of the NTSC, or not the PAL version versus NTSC. Ground and pound. All right. So as you can see, this just runs. Actually, let's go back in the practice mode. Let's just start kicking up the graphics again, just to show you what it's like. Let's do Warong. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I learned how to play as like the most spammed characters. Usually, these are the people that never played Tekken before. Like I play Tekken 3 all the time, man. I'm great at this game. And you just hear this nonstop. They're like, oh yeah, I do this. I play this guy all the time. You see him do that constantly because they're just mashing the buttons. I'm like, you don't even know what you're doing, dude. So, baseline graphics. This is what it should look like on a normal PlayStation. Let's make it even prettier. This game already looks amazing, so there's not really a whole lot that's going to go with it, really. Let's just kick all the way up to 8. Let's see. Bilinear. Resume. I mean, you can definitely tell that the model's got the increase on it for the visuals, but it already looked really great to begin with. I took off the frames per second. We don't need that anymore. We know it's running the 60. There it is. Display internal FPS off. Oh, and 32. Oh no, slow image read. You may get that occasionally, like, usually it doesn't cause any problems whatsoever, it just tells you it's slow even though it's like an ISO file. But you can, once again, you can just kick that up full blast.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight.
No. Okay, probably shouldn't try to get too fancy. So let's kick it up full speed. Let's have some more fun with this. Let's reset it. And I'm going to kick up the loading speed even more. Let's kick up the drive speed. How fast does this thing go? 14 times. Why not? Let's see what happens. This might break something, but we'll see. I've heard that, like, for some older games, like, if you increase the loading speed too much or the disk speed, it may cause problems. Yeah, like, I kick up to 14, it's like, nah, it's too slow. Really? You sure about that? See if I can try to remember his 10-hit combo. It's been a while.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight.
I always love that throw.
You win. Round 1. Fight.
Up, got 7.
Round 2. Fight.
Running leap. I love Paul. I mean, he is, like, seriously overpowered in this game. But I kind of went on the round about this the other night as well, because, I mean, I'm known to do that, but it's like, I remember, like, when games would unlock characters. For example, it's like, if I beat this game, I'm going to unlock another character for play. Alright. Thanks for dropping by, Friendly Tiger. See you next time.
Round 2. Fight.
I mean, it's like, it was awesome, like, when you used to, like, you had to play a game and you'd unlock characters, you know? It was a trip. It was awesome. It's like, and now these days, it's like, everything's like DLC paywall. You have these, like, seasons, you gotta buy a season pass in order to, you know, spend another $30 to buy a couple more characters. And yes, I know that basically they're building those, making those characters after the fact. But then you have things like the infamous Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Where basically literally half the roster was locked away onto the disc. You had to pay another $20 at least to get them unlocked. They were completed. It wasn't like we're going to, like, finish them up later. Oh man, my friend Zhao, like, my friend James basically played Tekken with a lot back in, I was up in North Dakota. He was like a Zhao Yu master. He actually found like a 10-hit combo that was not listed in any manual.
You win.
I win! Also, it's also refreshing to see, like, a full-on arcade mode, you know? It's not like Tekken 7 where you have like 3 matches. Oh.
Round 2. Fight.
Oh, forgot I had that throw. This game is so much fun. Unfortunately, like, the PlayStation 3 has problems emulating this still. That's kind of interesting to learn, because I remember playing it on there, because I own the disc of this game. And everything's like, why isn't this quite... Like, I remember there being, like, a slight problem with it. And there was. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not, like, game-breaking, but it doesn't emulate correctly all the way. Stop trying to gain your life back, dude.
You win.
Jin!
Round 1. Fight.
Oh no!
Round 2. Fight.
Jin, why?
Final round. Fight.
Oh, you should try to cheese him into that throw. Oh well. Alright, so let's find another game. I think that's pretty much just about it. Let's unplug Fight Stick controller, make sure it's the right one, not the microphone. Okay, good. Done that before, like, alright, let's unplug the controller, and microphone goes out. Pardon me. Let's fire up some Twisted Metal, huh? Alright, close content. Rearmed. Woo! So one of the things I mentioned last night on the stream was basically we're talking about like demos, how they don't really exist anymore. Here we go, it's loading up. Pretty much demos have gone away for the majority of the majority of games you see. And it showed the Mega 64 video, basically if game developers got into pizza, something like that. Basically, it was making fun of the game industry if you're running a pizza shop instead. One of the jokes was basically is playing off about, I think it was Yakuza 0, where they put out the demo. It was supposed to be like the first mission of the game locked, like it was unlocked, and then after that, it would lock the rest of the game off. So you were downloading the entire game to play, unless you bought the digital key, which unlocked the full game. But unfortunately, when they put out the demo, it was the full entire game, so people got it for free for like the 2 hours before they realized Sega realized their mistake and yanked it off the market in order to get it fixed. I was remembering there was another game that had that problem, and the other one is Final Fantasy 15, because they put out another demo for that again to basically lock after 2 hours of gameplay, I think it was. So what they did was, this is hilarious. When the full game came out on PC, basically hacking groups took the executable file for that initial demo, put it, basically made one minor change to the code, hardly anything, basically say, okay, here's the rest of the game to point to, and launched it, and it fired up the full game completely unlocked. De novo was completely pointless at that point. Because it just took the executable for the demo, put it into place for the normal one for the normal game, and it unlocked everything instantly. So that's kind of why, like, you know, developers don't do demos too much anymore because of dumb stuff like that. But now they're doing this crazy thing where they just are like putting the entire game out and then trying to lock it up instead of just cutting off a section of it. Alright, let's see. Audio control. Audio controls. That's weird. Put it that way. Gotta be an outlaw. Control standard. I hate when the game... Okay, there we go. It's like, you can't tell me what they are, please? Okay, machine guns, turbo, gas. Okay, I'm sure I'll be terrible at this, but let's do it. So once again, this is PCSX straight off. Exactly like the PlayStation 1 Classic. Except for I've heard that this game has like a lot of input lag on the PlayStation Classic for whatever reason. This is pretty responsive. I mean, RetroArch is pretty responsive to begin with. I have no idea where these people are. Why are you shooting me? I'm trying to be your friend. I'm Officer Hugs. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, we've seen worse looking games tonight. You think it'd be like dangerous to have like spectators right here in the middle of like a demolition derby where they're using live bullets. That's just me. Oh my gosh, this game is a nightmare. Now I remember I don't like this series. It's more entertaining when you have like more than one person you're trying to face off with, but just against one's car, not that great. So let's jump up and make it look prettier. Once again, the whole theme for tonight. I'll probably call it after this because I'm having a lot of pain, so... Yeah, kind of shorter stream. I'm usually streaming about closer to 2.5, 3 hours, but... Yeah, this is the HW, okay. Oh man, oh, my painkillers just wore off. Unfortunately, like, what they don't tell you about, like, pain control pills and painkillers is that there's no wind down for them. It's like, it's not like, I think it's starting to wear off. It's like, it's worn off and you are in hell. It is brutal. It's like falling off a cliff. It's instant. I don't care about my opponent. Alright, so, time to make it look pretty. We're just gonna go straight off. 832. On and on for PGX. And this game still looks like garbage, but it's prettier looking garbage. I mean, the models definitely a lot clearer. I can understand what's going on screen better, so that's cool. I can see now things around the arena versus the blurred mess that they were before. That's my special, okay. I don't know, I had like friends who were like massively into like Twisted Metal 2. Twisted Metal 2 I remember being playable. I mean, I was able to kind of hold my own with them. But yeah, I'm never really a fan of the series. I got like Twisted Metal 1 and 2 because my uncle actually He does like a lot of different odd jobs and caring for people's lawns and stuff and minor housework, things of that nature on the side. And apparently he was helping some lady, like her son had moved out, had a bunch of PlayStation games he didn't care about anymore, didn't want them. She was just gonna throw them out. He called me up, he's like, yeah, some lady here's got like 20 PlayStation games, do you want them? I'm like, yes. I don't care what they are. It's like, I'll take them. So, like, Twisted Metal 1 and 2 were part of that. Gran Turismo 2, Final Fantasy 7. I mean, there was like a lot of good games there, which was kind of shocking, but yeah, so I've pretty much hit the end of the stream for myself. It's only been about an hour and a half. Like I said, I know it's kind of earlier, but it's like I'm just getting too worn out. But you know what? Actually, screw that. I'm going to play one last game. We're going to have a little bit of fun in this nightmare of games I've been playing tonight. Kind of boredom and tedium, I apologize. I know it's not the most interesting, but let's play the best game ever made. Why is it not recognizing this as... We might not be able to play the best game ever made. Why? Okay, so let's do load core. HW, we're going to load content. So I can load it directly. ISO. ISO, yeah, should be just fine, unless it's going to be... Okay, so the Q file, that's weird. That'll let me pick it. I'm not sure exactly why it won't let me pick certain cores or not. Let's see, RetroArch might have crashed. We'll see. Sometimes it takes a little bit to load and pop back up. We'll see if that pops up or not. It doesn't look like it is. Try it again. Didn't read it. Okay, so load content. There we go. Okay. Nope, and it crashed out again. Okay, well that sucks. That throws a monkey wrench. I was gonna try to play Pepsi Man, but I guess I may probably need to burn this one to disk. It's just not loading up to play with us tonight. But in the meantime, as we mentioned here, unfortunately I'm having a very high pain day. I overextended myself shopping yesterday, basically getting things we needed in the family, and I'm paying the toll for it right now. But thank you for hanging out and for humoring me as I went through and showed what a garbage fire that the PlayStation 1 Classic is versus basically firing up RetroArch and doing it yourself. Do not give Sony your money at all for this product. It is a piece of crap. You do not want to reinforce it, because if people buy it, even with the whole thing of I'm going to mod this and do better things, you're still giving them money. If they're going to still see it as a success, they're going to think they can get away with giving us 9 out of 20 games being PAL versions and using one of the worst emulators out there. One of the first ones. It's just, there's so many better things. EPSXE or the Beetle HW cores I've been demonstrating, you can do so much better with your games. Even if you don't enhance them graphically, they still run better. So I will be back again streaming tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, if you do not know when that is for wherever you are in the world, just type it into Google. It'll translate for you. If you type in 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or EST as it's known as, and it will say that's the time and this is your local. It's awesome. I'll be back streaming Metal Gear Solid 5 tomorrow. I had to look up real quick on how to do the legendary gunsmith stuff. There's basically missions on top of there I have to do first, then they'll unlock. So we'll get that taken care of, because I want to be able to mod the weapons. I'll be jumping back to that. Once again, my Twitter is Wurzel at 5, like at Wurzel555. I'll always post up on there about an hour or two in advance of a stream if I'm going to be streaming and what I'll be doing. Or if I need to cancel, like if I'm having too much pain like I'm in right now, I'm actually literally sweating buckets from pain. But if something comes up, if I need to cancel, I'll post there as well. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. Friendly Tiger, of course, welcome back. It's good to see you hanging around with me now. Ronnie, Patrick, Tamu, you guys are all great. And I will see you guys next time.